So Nintendo is set to acquire a studio that will help bring third-party games to their platform. Which studio is it, and how will that all work? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the studio here is Shiver Entertainment, or I'll just call them Shiver, and they're being acquired by Nintendo. Now, Shiver is currently owned by Embracer, and as you may know, Embracer has been, I guess you could say, in some financial turmoil recently, and we'll get into a little bit of that here in just a minute. But what projects has Shiver worked on? Well, a couple you may recognize. They most recently are known for porting Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat 1 to the Switch, as well as Mortal Kombat 11. Now, I know Mortal Kombat 1 had some issues with the version that was on the Switch, but from what I read, it was mostly fixed with a day one patch. And then the port of Hogwarts Legacy to the Switch was pretty positive. I know it wasn't perfect, but for what they were able to do with the aging hardware, most people were satisfied. Now, what would be the purpose of Nintendo acquiring Shiver? Well, we don't really have to guess. They outright state it in their press release, and you can read that here. It says, Shiver is a video game development company that develops software for multiple platforms, including Nintendo Switch. Since its establishment in 2012, Shiver has partnered with publishers and developers through commissions for large-scale title deployments, and recently has worked on porting and developing software titles such as Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat 1. Nintendo will acquire 100% of the outstanding shares of Shiver and make it a wholly owned subsidiary. By welcoming Shiver's experienced and accomplished development team, Nintendo aims to secure high-level resources for porting and developing software titles. Going forward, even after it becomes a part of the Nintendo Group, Shiver's focus will remain the same, continuing commissions that port and develop software for multiple platforms, including Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo wants to basically provide a service for third-party developers to help them with bringing ports to Nintendo's platforms. Now, as the press release here states, Shiver Entertainment will continue to work on ports for other platforms as well, but I do have to wonder if this is some wording here because they are currently working on some projects for other platforms, and maybe they just want to reassure that those won't be dropped. But I do kind of feel like they'll probably slowly shift their focus to just Nintendo platforms here. And just in case you're wondering, I highly doubt Nintendo will use them in order to port some of their first-party games to other platforms. It would be pretty much not a Nintendo thing to do. And if this acquisition seems like it just came out of nowhere, well, Nintendo actually hinted in their investor Q&A a few weeks ago about their motivation for when they acquire studios. And you can see that here. First, they had a question. I'd like to hear your thoughts about your game software development resources. You will be announcing your software lineup for the second half of 2024 in a Nintendo Direct in June. But judging by the first half, the lineup seems weaker than usual. How much of your development resources have been shifted to the successor to Nintendo Switch? I'd also like to hear about your long-term strategy for expanding your development resources. And you can see Furukawa's response here. It says, creating a successor to Nintendo Switch takes years of preparation, so of course many aspects must be taken into consideration in terms of software development resources. But we are also continuing to develop software for Nintendo Switch and will announce more about our upcoming software lineup at the Nintendo Direct scheduled in June. We have continuously expanded our development resources over the past several years through the recruitment of recent graduates and mid-career hires. We will continue to actively work to secure the necessary development resources to increase the long-term value of our IP and to consistently offer unique entertainment proposals. And here comes the part that I think is important here. Although development resources could be expanded through mergers and acquisitions, First, we will work within the company with our developers who thoroughly understand and have built up the Nintendo brand over the years to have them nurture talent who can drive Nintendo's future development. In addition, many of our external development partners have gained a deep understanding of Nintendo's way of thinking and game development methods over the many years of collaboration, and we would like to further strengthen our ties with such partners. Now pay attention to this here at the end. The process of game development will inevitably become longer, more complex, and more advanced. It is vital that Nintendo offers consumers new and unique experiences through game development, so we will actively invest in expanding our development resources. So this Q&A was just a couple of weeks ago. Furukawa pretty much knew that this acquisition of Shiver was in the works, so I have to think he had this in mind when he gave this answer, especially when he says here, quote, actively invest in expanding our development resources. Now, this investment by Nintendo may have been a necessity that helped fill a need. There are reports back in February that Embracer Group quietly canceled 29 unannounced games and shut 7 studios within a 6-month period. So Shiver may have been on the chopping block, but since Nintendo has greatly benefited by the work that Shiver has done, it makes sense for Nintendo to invest in keeping them open. For example, Hogwarts Legacy was the 3rd biggest selling release for the Switch in 2023, only beating out Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, at least according to the UK sales charts. And I personally think this is a pretty great grab for Nintendo. They probably got Shiver for a decent price considering Embracer is shutting down studios and canceling projects. And as Nintendo is moving forward to the Switch 2, this will be a great resource to help bring third-party games over to the platform. In case you didn't know, the Switch uses an ARM-based processor versus the x86 architecture that you have in the PS5 and the Xbox Series systems, so it does take just a little bit more work to port games over to that platform. And considering the Switch 2 is supposed to be backward compatible and have that custom T239 chip in it, it would be great for Nintendo to have some dedicated staff to help third parties bring their games over to the platform. But let me know what you think. Do you think this is a great deal for Nintendo to grab Shiver here? And do you think this deal may have been out of necessity on Nintendo's part in order to sort of rescue it and be able to use these resources to help third parties to continue to bring games over to their platform? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching and be good.